nung nag-start ako when I was a student, sabi ko, hindi ko kailangan ito, kaya kong I can build this, 'di ba? Pero once you're in the professional scene, it's different. You
Yes.
need to move fast, you need to learn fast, you need to build fast.
So welcome guys, welcome back to Kaka-Computer podcast where tech meets wit and wisdom. And then for this topic, we will be talking about modern software engineering, clean, scalable, future-proof systems. So these real-world lessons on architectures, debugging, and long-term maintainability. And assume you are all devs.
Yes.
So you code. Let's start with the basic first question. Ano yung mga ideas or mga architectures na ginagamit nyo so far? So, sige ako na lang mauna. So, sa akin kasi, as a software engineer for over 6 years, so ngayon, I think more on clean architecture and microservices yung gamit ko since .NET. And then, so far, pang enterprise level kasi yun. So, hindi siya talaga into I think mga small companies or startup companies, but they can try that kind of architectures so far. And how about you?
Ayun, so since we are in a startup company, so medyo like yung gamble para hanapin talaga yung tamang architecture is medyo ano pa kami doon. So currently yung stack namin, since we are in a AI chatbot, so naka-default like ano lang kami, plug and play. For example, we are using the Open AI. Yeah. So ayun lang mostly, sir.
For me, I use the architecture best for whatever use case, right? But for me, I'm a really big fan of simplicity because simplicity scales. So for me, my default architecture for every project could be you start with a modular monolith. But at work, we do a lot of high throughput stuff, so we do use event-driven systems.
So for my work, I'm very new to creating enterprise solutions, but we are actually learning right now the architecture for our company, and it's a lot of enterprise level frameworks such as Java, Spring Boot, but a lot of the frameworks that I've worked with on my past projects are a lot of lightweight frameworks because I'm dealing with freelance and small companies or small clients lang, and they don't need enterprise solutions right now. So yeah.
Yeah. Siguro ngayon, tatanong ko lang din sa inyong lahat. How do you code or how do you do your task at work? Do you start by siguro gawin ko to at as is? Gawin ko to kahit magulo. Gawin ko to kahit napaka jumble yung mga codes, or do you even do you go for efficiency na bago ko to i-push or i-push sa repository or sa higher environment, linisin ko muna at all? So do you go for a large code then optimize later, or optimize now and review later? Sige.
For me, siguro dun kami sa optimize later kasi we practice test-driven development. So we write the test cases first, and then mag-error yon, and then that's when we fixed it. So nag-una kami kung we're defining how we want the code to work, how we want the feature to work, and then we're writing test for it, and then after nun, tsaka namin siya ayusin. Once na ayos na, that's when we optimize it. Kasi ang pinaka-goal natin is mapagana muna, diba? And then, tsaka natin siya hanapan ng edge cases, optimization issues, and ayun. So, how about you?
Ayun, so sa like kami, we are in a startup company, 'di ba? So mostly meron kaming turnaround time talaga. So kailangan napaka-fast pacing namin. Pero before like we move past, kailangan din naming mag-move cleanly. So ayun, usually naman low code naman yung sa startup namin, and I think hindi siya overrated yung clean code. Need talaga natin siya para like for example sa amin na kapag hindi namin na turn around yung project for 15 days, meron na ulit panibagong client na papasok, 'di ba? So it's kapag naging messy, so magkakagulo-gulo yung startup namin since we're just a little startup. So kailangan talaga clean na yung code from the start.
Right. So for me, it's really a spectrum Pero usually in a startup land, we really push to the left. So meaning optimize for shipping code faster. At startups kasi we usually ship at breakneck speed. So usually features get developed in days or weeks compared to enterprise would take months or years, right? So parang for me, clean code is necessary. Like we have to make it work first and then make it fast and then make it pretty, right? So that's where I am. But eventually you'd reach a point where you actually need to refactor and that's the only time you refactor. So parang if you watch Startup School in YC, they always say this, embrace the tech debt. Kasi what if your company dies even if wala kang tech debt? So better to make the company survive first and then, clean up afterwards.
So, may follow-up question ako kay Sir.
Yes.
Since you're into Sophie AI,
Yes.
nabanggit mo, you have to be fast-paced.
Yes.
Tapos, paano pag may bagong client, it will get messy. So, ang tactics nyo ba is clients, parang in-overload nyo yung sarili nyo sa clients and then you parang pinaprogress nyo yung code or you stop taking clients and optimize everything first tapos tatanggap na ulit kayo ng client.
Yes, so usually yung ginagawa namin since hindi rin naman siya like yung ads kasi namin organic siya, so hindi mo rin alam kung kailan papasok talaga yung client. Meron talagang month na ang dami nila na like kailangan namin sila i-accommodate. So kapag start pa lang nung galaw namin, like for example, for my let's say may mga MCP integration for Shopify, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Like ganon. Tapos wala pa kaming architecture para doon. So parang bago pa lang sa amin. Kapag hindi namin nalinis 'yon or ginandahan or like really good code yung binigay namin doon. So talagang magja-jumble kami kasi nga una sa lahat, sobrang konti pa nung team namin. Like we're actually 6 pa lang doon sa team. So parang minsan nagiging one-man team ka, yung isa nagiging DevOps na rin siya, gano'n.
Stressful?
Yes.
Kasi ang dami yung clients
Oo, yun.
6 lang kayo.
Yes, oo. Ayun.
Okay. So, next question na lang siguro. Kayo ba yung nag-start kayo as devs? Ina-avoid nyo ba yung mga frameworks or let's say sa business side? Do you push your devs na na gumamit kayo ng frameworks or mag-try kayo ng ganito? Or try nyo muna lahat?
So yung take ko dito is kapag gumamit ka kasi ng ng frameworks, like for example, marunong ka mag-drive ng car. Yun lang yung parang analogy ng like marunong ka mag-drive ng car pero kapag kunwari hindi mo inaral yung framework na yun, hindi mo alam kung paano gumagana yung engine. So I think kami since startup kami, kailangan fast pacing kami. In-embrace talaga namin yung paggamit ng mga frameworks.
How about you, Jed?
For me, I think when starting out, I think really have to put a lot of emphasis on the fundamentals. Like for example, right now, I've seen so much React code and it's still very bad, right? Like a lot of people really push Next and without having a total understanding of React and by extension JavaScript or TypeScript. And for me, it's such a sad reality that people don't really have a good solid base to work on. And I think especially when you're early career, you really have to get those right before jumping into frameworks. Although in business side, of course, just use frameworks. We really need to ship faster.
Yeah, for me, when I was starting out, syempre, I avoid frameworks talaga. Especially as a student, mga small projects ko talaga hindi ako gumagamit ng frameworks noon. Kasi, I wanted to learn the fundamentals kasi alam ko na, in the long run, it's something that will actually help you. Kahit na itong mga bagay na ito, hindi mo na ito gagamitin kasi meron ng tool for this. Pero, you really have to embrace it. Pero, pagkadating mo sa pag nag-level up ka na sa career mo, when you have a business or you're doing enterprise solutions na, you really have to accept the frameworks Kasi, you don't reinvent the wheel, di ba? When something is working na, when something is there na para tulungan kang gawin to, hindi mo naman kailangan
Yes.
buuin yun ng sarili mo, di ba? It's a case-to-case basis, pero when you need to work fast, you have to embrace all the tools that is present sa'yo. Lahat na may tools na may access ka. Di ba? It is something na makakatulong sa'yo. Kasi, ano yan eh, nung nag-start ako, when I was a student, sabi ko, hindi ko kailangan nito, kaya kong, I can build this. Di ba? Pero once you're in the professional scene, it's different. You
Yes.
need to move fast, you need to learn fast, you need to build fast.
Kaka Computer is made possible by the support of our community and sponsors. If you believe in empowering IT professionals and want to be part of our journey, we'd love to have you on board. Visit patreon.com/kakacomputer to become a sponsor today.
Sa akin naman, I will collab or summarize yung lahat. Agree ako na dapat gamitin mo yung available resources na meron ka. Agree din ako na dapat be resourceful din sa mga bagay-bagay. At the same time, dapat may solid kang foundation talaga when you are building something. And then you don't treat frameworks as your as something na dapat hindi ka makagawa nito pag wala ka nito eh.
Yeah.
Dapat i-treat mo as framework as building blocks.
Yes.
Para, kuwari, meron kang bahay, gagawa ka ng bahay. What tools do you need sa ganito? What tools do you need sa ganito? You can combine naman eh. Hindi naman porket lamp stack is mag-stick sa Angular. You can combine other tools na available and necessity doon sa feature na ginagamit mo. And yung mga tech stack kasi or yung combination ng stacks, it's just a guide na ay mag-work to pag ginamit mo to, but it's not really restricted for that format na dapat ito lang yung gamitin mo kasi marami pang ibang available tools sa market at mas marami pang makakatulong sa'yo. Baka mas maintindihan mo pa yung ibang bagay na before ka tumalon sa ganong parte. So siguro next question ko na lang sa lahat is are you familiar with monoliths and
Yes,
microservice?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure kung case-to-case basis, pero tuwing kailan dapat gamitin ng microservice and monolith?
So, kami mostly, syempre, yun nga, ulit-ulitin ko lang din, startup. So, monolithic yung approach namin. Since, like, for example, bakit magdadagdag ka ng, like, parang sa amin kasi na-avoid namin yung complexity din. Kasi, ayun, yun yung nagiging blockers eh. Like, for example, idadagdag mo tong feature na to tapos yung isa naming solutions engineer sasabihin, ito maganda, ito ganun, ito. Tapos parang hindi siya mag-stick doon sa namin, sa standard operating procedures namin, yung mga processes namin. So lalo lang nagtatagal. Nawawala yung yung we ship past, nawawala yung namin.
So you stick dun sa
Yes.
goal nyo talaga.
Yes. So parang siguro i-apply lang namin yung microservices when we scale na talaga. Yan.
Alright. How about you, Jed?
So for me, I like to default to a modular monolith. I feel like most stuff, that's fine. Like I've seen lots of startups just be fine with that. Although, when do we go microservices? When we want to scale a hot path, right? So, for example, this endpoint or this service is getting so much RPS, which we did. So parang we initially started with the modular monolith, so it's a express na backend. And when we really had high RPS, like 1K RPS, then we made the switch to a microservice. So parang for me, I think microservices are really good in different use cases. So for example, limiting blast radius, eliminating single point of failure is really good, right? But for startups, I think modular monolith is really good because it still gives you the option to go to microservice when you really need to. And I don't know if you've seen this, pero the principal engineer at DoorDash or Uber, he said na microservices are an organizational problem. So parang you really have to use it to solve something and not because it's hyped or it's talked about in system design a lot. So yeah.
So in my case, since I'm at Gcash, let's say we're creating a Gcash clone. So when we are designing something as big as Gcash, syempre ang maisip agad natin is we're using microservices kasi there are a lot of features in those kinds of apps, di ba?
Yes.
Yeah.
And other features have more traffic than others. So that's why we need to design systems like that in microservices kasi there are a lot of features and gusto nating mas madali mag-add ng feature in the future
Yes.
without restructuring the whole architecture. And that's why microservices versus monolith is a case-to-case basis. It isn't microservice yung trend ngayon, ito dapat tayo. Just like with, what's your starter?
Sophie. Yeah.
Sophie, they have a simple solution, diba? Straightforward solution. They don't have a billion features na kailangan nila implement. What they're doing is a chatbot, and so straightforward. So they're opting with monolithic architecture. Pero in the case of GCash or other e-wallets, they have a lot of features. Tapos yung ibang features nila, especially yung mga banking features nila, maraming traffic. So they are forced to opt with microservices to be able to be flexible and scalable sa demands ng customers nila. So I think yun nga, it is case-to-case basis.
Yeah, I agree din na case-to-case basis kasi kung isa kang dev na nag-start, why would you need a microservice at all? Kung hindi ka, wala ka namang planong mag-scale up eh. So, gusto mo lang mag-try ng mga tools. Pero kung on the long run, I think it will be beneficial for you na mag-try ng other architectures, especially microservice or clean. Dahil nga, let's say, mayroong segregation of concerns, mayroong iba't ibang features na offer at standard din sa ibang companies na ganito yung gamitin mong architecture. So yun lang yung take ko sa microservice or monolith. Pero siguro na rin tatanong ko na din as follow up, pag gumagawa ba kayo ng isang system, paano nyo masasabing ito ay future proof and scalable on the long run? Since mag-start tayo kay Sophie.
Sige. So, actually, dun sa question mo, regarding dun sa future proof, I think, siguro, like, iba siya sa, kapag sa AI ka eh. Like, for example, sa amin. So, ang hirap mong sabihin na mapi-future proof mo kasi, yung, for example, eto si Google. Like, for example, we are using the agent development kit, di ba? Like, we are relying doon sa mga binibigay lang nila eh. So, mahirap sagutin para sa akin yung tungkol doon sa future proofing. How about you, Sir Jed?
I think for me, scale is a very wide snowflake spectrum, right? And parang for me, as long as you don't premature engineer, it's good. Pero just still understand what the future demands of you. So for example, for us, we engineer for 10 times the load that we currently do. And right now, we are pretty comfortable with that. So parang for me, as long as the engineering matches the business demands and requirements, I think that's pretty fine.
I think when future-proofing systems, it isn't about just yung scalability. You have to think about how fast can you ship this feature, diba? You can't have something fast and cheap and then expect it to scale properly or be reliable.
Yeah.
Kailangan alam mo kung ano yung demand ng business and alam mo kung ano yung siguro yung tawag dito, ano yung resources na meron yung business na yun. Kasi doon ka magbabase how you are gonna structure the system to be scalable. Ilan ba customers sila or something like that, 'di ba? So as I said kanina, case to case basis pa rin how you're gonna architect the solution eh.
Siguro pagdating naman sa paggawa ng isang future proof system, mahalaga din siguro na connect ka dun sa business or business itself, sa mga clients mo. Kasi kung ang focus nila ngayon is gumana lang to, bale walang future proof na systems and i-offer mo eh. But kung isang client is handang makinig, we offer let's say ganito yung mga consequence pag ito yung ganito yung mga mangyayari in the next few long run, pag dumami na yung data sets, dumami na yung data, ganito yung magiging effect, that would be the time na kailangan mag-restructure ng solutions when it comes to systems na dapat sinuggest na namin to dati, ba't di nyo ginawa eh? Ano ba yung point na nito? So yun yung sa akin when it comes to paggawa ng mga scalable and future-proof system. kayo, may follow-up questions pa
Siguro
kayo?
dun sa ano. When I was a student, kasi nag-freelance na ako doon. I'm doing, small projects lang naman. And then, minsan may mga nagtithesis na student na nagpapakonsult. Tapos,
Yeah.
nung una, parang gamitin nyo to, trending to ngayon, ganyan. It's something na ka kasi, alam ko to kasi, bago tong bagay na to, kailangan ko malaman, kailangan nang gamitin. Pero habang tumatagal, sasabihin na lang nila. Tatanong ko sa kanila, ano bang goal nyo dito sa thesis na to? Basta ma-present nyo lang, basta mapagana nyo lang. Sasabihin nila, oo. So, I'm suggesting na lang kung ano yung pinaka-mabilis na pwede nilang gamitin. It's same kapag ka na, sa larger scale ka na, sa startup, sa business, ganun na rin eh. You have to understand kung ano yung ginagawa mong domain eh. Kasi, let's say, food business ka, what parts of this solution you need to have it scalable, 'di ba? Ano yung solution na hindi mo naman kailangan na itodong future-proof mo agad. So yeah.
Thanks to our sponsors, Tutorials Dojo, Young CTO, Amazon Web Services User Group Philippines, Facebook subscribers. On to our next video topic.